order. The Scituate Council on Aging, 5:34 on Thursday, March 10th. Welcome, everyone. We're doing a little bit of a combo hybrid meeting tonight, as you maybe can see, with a Zoom participant as well as the rest of us here in our conference room. Well, let's do a quick round of introductions, and then we'll get started with the rest of the agenda. I'm Katie Miller, Chair.
Susan Garbage Kelly, Vice Chair.
Elaine Chavarri, FOSS Liaison.
Janice Lindblom, Board Member.
Dee Dwyer, Board Member.
Marie Fricker, Board Member.
Leslie Jones, Board Member.
Jessica Suki, Activities and Volunteer Coordinator.
Linda Hayes, Director of the Senior Center.
Welcome, everyone, again.
And Pat Compton, Board Member.
Pat Carlton, Board Member. Sorry, Pat.
You're to my immediate right, and I
See,
forgot
JD
you
can
already.
see you, I know, that's good.
I think everyone's got a packet, except Pat, probably, but
True.
you probably got minutes from last month. If everyone can take a minute to review. I know I have one quick edit.
The minutes were really good, but was Jill Johnson recently hired?
That was
No,
my
that was
edit.
my,
That's the
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Correct, right.
Is she a local?
Long,
been here
long
like 18
time.
years.
The longest serving.
I've never
Johnson.
seen her before.
That's hard to believe, most people think she runs the place.
So good, you get to
Exactly.
strike that out. Do you want me to fix it on my computer?
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe, I can't remember. No, I have the Word document.
Oh, you're good, that's it.
Do we have any other comments, edits, changes to last month's meeting minutes, other than how we described Jill? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from
Motion
with that change?
Make a motion to accept.
I think we got Pat and Leslie right there. Well, so we have our staff guests, so Jess, I'm going to hand it over to you for an update on activities and volunteers.
Sure, thank you. I don't know if I should go with the camera.
That's good.
So that's actually in the back of the packet, so you read backwards. Yeah, so I would say in the past, especially after the new year, but from the past month into March, I think the vibe of the senior center has really been fun. It's been positive. I mean, a lot of it came, a lot of positivity coming in from the lunch program for sure, but then people staying and then people wanting to stay and wanting to do more. I think that as we look to the spring, we're looking to a garden series that seems to get off on a good start with Sally Rossman, Sally Rossi Orman. We're bringing back the healthy eating program. As I understand, that was a program that was done.
We had done it one other time, it's an evidence-based program, but Social Elder Services is going to change this time.
Yeah, we're adding to our fitness program with, I think we mentioned, it might have been mentioned last month too, but with Neil and his arthritis and conditioning class, and hopefully also another class that would be focused more on almost like circuit or conditioning that he could do with, we were hoping to attract more men probably into those fitness classes. We had our first.
It sounds like a great class. Arthritis and what else?
Oh, was it the
That's-
second one?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Well,
first one.
First one, second.
Yeah, and I think what he seems to be good at is he's understands how to run group classes, but he likes to give like more personal treatment. So I think that's what I got from meeting him. The junk box engineering, they started today. It was a group of I think there were four men.
Not all men,
No,
No.
I thought 4 men.
at least 2 women.
Oh, it was 2 women, I'm sorry. They were, I think I saw them all setting up when I came up, and basically trying to make useful things out of everyday junk. But the idea is that it pushes the brain to think and to engineer. It's free, he's
I
doing
know, it's
completely
free.
volunteer free, his time and effort and most of his stuff. And then to add on to our artwork, in our programs, one of the, Frank Moody, one of our, participants, he wanted to do like more of a social painting class, so that it would be a little more structured, a little bit more you show up with your things, and it's a way, painting as a way to talk and to socialize and just to sharing. So, he's running that, so those are some new ones. One thing I think has really taken off for the last several months is the wellness program. We're just about, and Leslie can attest to this, we're just about maxed out in all of our wellness, offerings. So, I mean, if people wanted to give us more of their time, the instructors, then we could probably fill up those schedules. But especially with the reflexology and the chair massage. So that's definitely something that people are wanting, that we can't fill up enough right now. Possibly looking into another wellness retreat. That was when we kind of showcased everything, and we could do that again. Maybe a way to expand on some of our services with meditation and taxes is here in the house, and they've taken up a couple of rooms to do their tax program, which I think has again brought a lot of people to the center on a regular basis, and they see it as helpful. Everybody says getting our taxes here is like is been the most helpful thing that can happen, so that's a good thing. Erin and I both mentioned our reports. We're in the process of trying to create an outreach volunteer program, so that she's seeing the needs of the outreach programs, and then she's trying to match them with different volunteers. And in order to do that, we just want to make sure we have like a recruiting process and a selection process for that, because they can be very specific jobs, like when you're going into someone's home, and it requires a little bit more thought and training. So we're working on that together. And we had a really fun Valentine's Day sock hop and pool tournament, which I think just the idea of bringing fun into the center, I think those events kind of set a good tone. We want to continue having activities like that. Maybe not even, they have to be special events, but they can be, Linda was mentioning too, like after lunches, just continuing lunch into bingo or into singo or into trivia, and just having people's lunchtime.
So to stay around.
Yeah. Because if you notice on the numbers, and I would say the numbers didn't necessarily change drastically this month, but there's still the highest things that people are coming here for, our lunch programs and our social visits. I mean, they're coming here to socialize, whether they're trying to do it through art or whether they're trying to do it through activities, like that's what they're coming here to do. That's what strikes me. Just requests too, where some people say, can we have name tags at fitness classes? Because they don't just want to do fitness, but they want to be able to meet each other.
Sure.
Right? Another person said, do you think we could set up a way so we could have meet and greets like after fitness classes? So they're looking for a way to help make those connections.
Needless to say, nobody ever minded when I was 10 minutes late for Tai Chi, because basically that was their time to socialize, so it was just fun. And at pickleball, that's funny, Betty Johnson had actually been the one to suggest that in the program. She said, wearing name tags, was one of the nice things we do for our participants. And it was true, because a lot of people would show up and not know each other, and then they were gonna play together for an hour, so we like to be able to use
I mean,
people's
that happens,
names.
that enables socialization, so that's a good thing.
But it's funny, we just haven't been in this position before, I guess, where
Yeah.
we have that many
Yeah.
new faces.
And the volunteers, they do get their name tags when they come to work in the kitchen or work at the front desk, and so that helps on that level. There is kind of a steady increase of volunteers. We're pushing up toward, I think within the next month, we'll be up closer to 60, or over 60, because if we start to include people that would think for the outreach program, and also, I think other people getting involved with the lunch program and becoming backups to the lunch program, because we've needed a little bit more support there. It's been running well, but people go away, and we need to add people on to substitute for them.
Can I just ask a question about the volunteers for the outreach program, which I think is a fabulous idea? There's a couple of people in my grief support group that are actually nurses that are, like we're in the mode now of trying to find meaning and purpose in life, to try to, reconnect, rebuild, with that, we're at that phase of the healing process. And so just trying to help all of them find some kind of a pathway to do something. So so are you looking for those kind of people, like, that could go into a home that, just even for companionship, or to do errands, or to
Friendly
make a
visitor.
meal, or something, because I thought, since you brought this up, that might be a good avenue for me to, refer a couple of the people to say they should go see you and talk to you, and
Yeah, I think the more we have,
other than like handyman and things.
yeah, I think some of it is they want projects handed in, they want people to do like housework, they want people to do, maybe even reading their mail, it's a process of, like, can you go through my mail with me? There's transportation, which is kind of a different category. There, like, when you say errands and things like that.
Meal preparation?
Meal preparation?
I don't know. I
That
think you
one
might
doesn't
find
come
that
up.
once you start getting into people's homes, you might find that they're not eating there. So that might be an add.
And,
Like making a sandwich or something for lunch. or
Yeah.
something like that.
Maybe bringing lunch, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah. But I think having, expanding the volunteer group out into that area, it just takes a little bit more training, and that's what Erin and I were talking about too, about how we get them from, they come see Jess, here, fill out an
Yeah.
application, to, okay, be ready for your first visit, maybe go in with Erin,
Yeah.
make it comfortable and assess if it's right or not.
Actually, Janice was involved in
We
establishing the
tried,
Friendly
yeah.
Visitor
Oh.
Program
Yeah.
4 years,
Number of years ago.
4 years
yeah.
ago, maybe?
Oh,
What did
So-
you, can
It
you
was,
just,
Friendly visitor.
the friendly visitor
I was gonna
program.
ask, how would you consider this being different from friendly visitor?
well, maybe could you just explain to those of us that don't know what the French
Right.
is?
Well, it's similar,
Yeah.
it's very similar. I mean, it was, I think people in the community that had older family members who wanted somebody just to check in, just go spend some time with their family members, like, they were alone most of the time, like, if they lived out of state, they would know somebody was regularly checking in.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
you and Lisa did
We
come up with
did.
some training, which I think had come from maybe Social Elder Services original program.
Yeah, we based a lot off the social elders program. So, I'm sure it's.
But there's always
Yes.
issues, like at one point there was someone who didn't want to go into the home because there was a dog
Right.
next door. There were always
Yeah.
things that came up that
Yeah.
sometimes
dog at
couldn't
home.
be surmounted. And so there are parameters, I guess I
Oh,
would
yeah.
say sometimes.
I think this is a great idea for connections and all that, but is there any issue of liability? I guess if the person in the home was a little off and wanted to accuse me, if I were going, of whatever, stealing.
That would have to be considered, I suppose. I mean, for the
Yeah.
most part, we know these clients and we are
Yeah.
matching them, so we're trying to make it a good fit, at least that's
Yeah,
how we
okay.
hear that.
It's
Um,
great, the connection.
And sometimes there aren't, but yeah, that's why I say there would have to be parameters, queries are run.
Yeah.
And that's,
waivers
or
waivers,
something.
we were trying to look at
Yeah.
like what, that's one thing we were saying would be first is to look at like what kind of waiver we would want for. It's different though, someone going, a need might be for someone to just do trash, someone's trash, which is different than going into their home. So the, Erin actually, and I'm sure she's gonna come to one of these meetings too.
She's up next to you.
She's up next, okay, because she had gave me a list of things, the needs, and then we put it on the back of what is the volunteer, or the volunteer application now, so that we could say, if you're willing to work one-on-one with a client or do any of these kind of jobs, then you can flip over and see some of the things that people actually want you to do. And what it's interesting is once you show people the specifics, they're very clear, like, I'll do this, I'll do this, you know, I'll do this, but I won't do this, and I won't do this. So I think that's the matching part that we're finding, so, so that one's like taking a little bit, will take a little bit more to get off the ground
Yep.
until we have, you know, the actual volunteers that are gonna be on the sheet, but.
I think it's a great idea, though.
No,
It's fabulous.
absolutely.
Not as, maybe not specific to this, but we're hoping to get some companion riders too for the band. That would help to get some
Oh, wow.
people who otherwise we might be reluctant to take on the band to a doctor's appointment, but if there was someone available almost regularly, as opposed to making that the responsibility of the family or the individual, then that would make things a little bit easier for some. Keep them riding and independent longer than others, so that's another area.
Yeah, and I've been kind of working with Lily on that one, yeah, so that's what's neat about the volunteer program now, is it's kind of, there's enough going on that, like, Jill works administratively with a lot of the front desk, and Lillian could work with transportation, and Erin can work with outreach, and Fred and his team can work with lunch, and so that's kind of how it's funneling out from where I am, which allows me, you know, to then maybe hopefully focus a little bit more on activities too, because, you know, or, you know, that's where it kind of works, like, it's the way to do it, I guess.
But I will say, that's been a great benefit of Jess having had some experience, not just some, with this role elsewhere before coming here, and really could see the need for that she's just started to establish, so that's been a big, big help.
It's happening, it's.
Very well.
Are there areas where you still feel like you're short of manpower, help, resources?
Actually, a lot of times I feel like, given the structure we have right now, I don't feel, like I would say, like, I wouldn't just throw someone into an outreach position because we're not ready to do it, right? So I have all these ideas, or great ideas with Erin to get that to where it's working, but it needs the infrastructure. I would say everything that has the infrastructure, we have a solid volunteer, like the front desk, we have a solid, we even have sub, you know, people we could sub in, or they're so used to working one or two together that they've created their own
Little
little
subbing.
system, so, and the same with Fred's lunch program. I think people are subbing for each other, or they're noticing a need and they're saying, I can pull this person into the community, and they're feeding it into me, which makes it that really solid. Which makes it only hard, because then we still have so many wonderful people from the
Requests.
community wanting to get involved. I don't have like
Right.
that, that's why I think opening this up more will give people something, but then some people still just wanna work in the center, they don't wanna work.
Yeah.
Out in the
So-
field.
Yeah, so the next step would be to try to get to a place where we can open more up in the center.
I mean, I think it's great because, I mean, one of the things just from a life coaching viewpoint is that, you know, everybody's looking for healthy, you know, living and healthy aging, and volunteerism is a pathway to meaning and purpose, and that's one of the keys to, you know, healthy aging is to have meaning and purpose in your life. So I think it's just fabulous that this is becoming, you know, an option for people that live in a town that really are looking for something to do to provide some meaning.
And we used to kind of say that it was maybe somebody's first step in coming in here, but now that doesn't seem to be a problem. So, you know, people do like what they're doing, but most do still come and do other things here too, so.
I need to ask you with the junk box engineering, so what kind of junk did they use? I'm just totally curious about. Yeah.
I don't, well, I didn't get to see what they did today, like, I didn't actually see, but he had tools, he had, pipe, what are those, like, he had like things I'd see.
Like pipe
Yeah,
cleaners?
you'd see, like, I think I saw pipe cleaners. But
So
you
in other
know,
words, you clean out your kitchen drawer and then
See what you can make out of it.
Yeah, like your junk drawer, or,
one
The-
junk drawer.
Well, it sounds like he might be cleaning out the garage.
clips, he had like a lot of paper clips, like he does a lot with paper clips, he wants to make a whole tower of like paper, and so there's certain challenges he'll give people, so every month, or every session, there's a different challenge with different supplies. I can bring it, you know, I could send it up so you can see it, but, yeah, sorry, I keep not
So
seeing
is this,
it.
is this once a month, or is this?
Once, it's the second, it's the second Thursday in, of the month, yeah. Oh, and I just wanted to say one more thing about the so now I'm finding, whether it's because of the time of year, or also just because we have this wonderful group of volunteers with us that have been working so hard, and now is like, it's not more like, where can we do more to bring more in, it's actually like, how can we now make sure we appreciate who we have?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
I kind of, I'm in the back of my head thinking like, oh my gosh, I have all these like wonderful volunteers, but I want them to know that they're wonderful volunteers. And I have to work more on that, like, develop.
Well, we do, and someone even
Volunteer
did just ask me, like, is there ever anything, because they're all new, and they don't know, and many of, I guess, former volunteers who we have recognized and celebrated. Annually, we have done it traditionally in June, the end of June, more or less, and have like a volunteer appreciation lunch, or one time we tried it, I think, end of day, more like a mocktail celebration. So we've tried various things, but
Yeah.
annually, except for the last 2 years, we did not do it, because we really weren't using the volunteers, so. We will, we
Yeah,
are.
so,
it's
yeah,
starting to
and
plan.
that's
We
what I
give
was
them a
thinking.
gift, we give them
Yeah. And then just ways, if there are other ways throughout the year that I can break down, even through program, right? If you have those different programs, maybe focus one program on a quarter, you know, rather, because of your annual ways of doing some of your volunteers. But then it could just be, you could try to, you know, make sure we get some notes out to them, like, do certain things. It doesn't have to be extravagant.
Or a volunteer of the month, or something like
Or
that.
something in the
idea.
newsletter, or.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of organizations do
Yeah,
that, they'll
that's
have
very
like a
nice.
volunteer of the
Yeah.
month, or a volunteer of the year.
Yeah.
And,
We did stay away from that before, but I think of the month, I think once you do it that frequently, you can recognize
yeah,
it.
I mean, they do it at Stop and
Yeah.
Shop, so. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it in the newsletter.
Yeah, or more like volunteers and getting to know them, especially if profiles, I mean, they're not all seniors, but it would be interesting,
Yeah,
the
like
ones that
a
are
profile
seniors
of
aren't
a
seniors.
volunteer in each newsletter or something like that.
We'll just have her Girl Scout troop here with her daughter, and they all want to volunteer.
Yes, so we have the younger generation.
That's 16 more.
20 more, yeah, they were all interested, one girl asked you, she said, what's the youngest age you can be to volunteer here?
Wow, that's so sweet. Were they selling Girl Scout cookies?
They probably could have, but they were just here to, they cleaned out the game room, they did a
Oh,
It was an
project.
Oh,
educational,
it was a
Yeah.
project.
Yeah,
and we put them to work.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Bring him in.
Did a lot of things.
You have a few things on the calendar, do you want to sort of announce that to
Oh, sure.
our listening audience?
Yep, we have St. Patrick's Day
Busy week coming up.
coming up, and it is a busy week, because we also, I didn't mention the veteran breakfast that's gonna be hosted here on the 15th, and then St. Patrick's Day luncheon on the 17th, and we're gonna have entertainment by Matt Brown. We are part of the St. Patrick's Day Parade on the 20th, my birthday.
What are you doing? Are you doing a van, or are you doing a,
We'll do the van. We'll do the van.
with balloons or something?
Yeah, and decorations, and that's the staff, volunteers, board, all welcome. I think I just mentioned, we want to try to complement lunches with more, keep the fun activities going, like the single things on trivia. We'll take suggestions on that too, if people have things that they want to do. Mike Wankum's gonna come for the April 5th breakfast at 9 AM.
Oh, nice.
So we're at least up to.
Weather dependent.
Well, that's if he'd come in February, but.
We're gonna do, a nice show by the Delvina Theater Company. It's Meet Julia Child, and
yes.
sponsored by FOSS. You're gonna talk about that too? Yeah, okay. And, these are two things that we're just starting to talk about and hope that we can get out in the future, would be starting up the lifelong learning program to more formalize a committee around that, and starting up a memory cafe and activity for caretakers and participants. So like a 1 hour, you could come together, do an activity, but, some kind of socialization there too. So those are things we're looking forward to this spring.
Okay. Very good. Keeping you busy.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions for Jess on anything?
When do you find time to sleep?
Well, we,
And how soon can we sign up the Girl Scouts?
I know, I'll work on that. Sleeping, I don't know.
Cookies.
What?
Don't forget the cookies.
I know, I didn't even think to,
Are they up right now?
yeah, they
Oh,
are.
yeah, they
had
were already
extra-
having
they
the
had
village
extras that they
market.
need to
I-
sell.
I've
already
So
gone
they're
to
at
my
the
first
end,
sale.
I didn't think to use the senior center that way.
Yeah.
They probably could have sold it.
Conflict of interest.
Well, it is nice to have Jess reporting on so many of the things that she's doing directly, so,
Very good.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
And so we do hope to have, as they're able, a staff person join us each month if they can, just to keep updated and
That's great.
a little more direct involvement than just my conveying.
Excellent. Thank you, Jess. If you need to head out, you're welcome to stay, but whatever you want to do.
Okay.
We got the green light, and she sat near the door.
I know, but I'll read up and check in. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that.
Thank you, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing everyone. You know where my office is, come by.
Doesn't mean you're
Bye-bye,
going
have
to
a
be
good
there.
night.
No, it does
that's-
not,
That's
right?
true.
And never at 11:30. She does the check-in for lunch unless she's not here. She does very well. She's got a good sense of the kitchen and everybody else. Anyway, so
Next
I
on the agenda, director's report.
And unfortunately not written again, but really, as you can see, and honestly, people have really embraced their jobs and taken a lot of initiative for themselves, and that's been great. So between Jess, Lillian, and Erin, honestly, it's been really wonderful to see them take the roles on and really take them to different levels, I think, which has been appreciated. There's still something for me to do, but it's good to have them. So she did mention the pool tournament, and that is just an example of, and I want to thank
The,
pool tournament
oh, pool.
we had last week.
Yep,
It
yep,
had
yep,
been
yep.
postponed a week because of one of those snowstorms. But there's been a lot of people coming into play, and they'll appreciate the table, and most of them might have a friend that they come and play with, and they all do it an hour or more segments, depending on what's open. But this really got almost every single person who's been coming into play together, and they were scheduled. So we had Buster Alonji organizing along with Ed Kelly, and we got 16 participants. I think in the end there were a couple who may not have come, and they had to fill in. There was an underage fill-in, my son did come, but they needed him. But a lot of people came and just watched,
Yeah, I wanted to come and watch, I didn't get there, no.
because you would have had company, like a couple of women who weren't comfortable yet playing, they stayed the whole day. It was fascinating entertainment, I guess, a few upsets. Anyway, it was an example, and people do, not to say that we cater to it, because obviously we want everyone to be happy, but just finding things that will bring men in together and enjoy each other's company.
I
And
think
it
some
did.
of the people that are coming at certain hours, maybe back people that are coming at different hours.
Right, well, it's
In
true.
different days, yeah.
Yeah.
So was there a prize for the winner of the tournament?
They got a free lunch.
Ah.
But not a reservation, just the lunch.
Oh, okay, the
I
reservation
should've
is more
given them
valuable.
that.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that, a free lunch and a free lunch bag. So actually, they were very appreciative. It was, just bragging rights, I guess. So they do want a plaque with, to make it a regular thing that,
The winner for this
the winner for this, whatever. So actually, they wanna do it more often, which is great. It is just a good example, and I think when bocce comes back, and they're just about ready, so we had a few of the regulars, more than a few, but, a couple of guys were volunteering to really keep it together and, offer instruction as needed. They're coming back from Florida in April, and then there were those who were connected to the Rotary Club who were doing it on Thursday afternoons, and I hear they're ready to come back if the weather cooperates. So I can see that being
Yeah.
much the
Yeah,
same.
Like a tournament.
And we could have taken pictures or video last fall, really, of the large crowds outside doing that. So many options. The Friends did buy a cornhole set that we didn't get to
cool.
use last fall, because we were going to do an outside game day or something in it range. So, but we have it in ping pong, we're still working on that, I guess. But just saying. And on that note, some publicity we probably didn't need, but it was lovely. So if you may have seen Sue Scheibel's A Good Age column in the Patriot Ledger last week, which was on the food service program and Fred, basically.
Oh.
And it was
Wow,
really,
great.
really nice.
It was also picked up on TV.
Well,
Someone
WBZ
told me.
Talk Radio saw that, and a young
Oh, yeah.
woman from the radio station came down on, I think it might have been Thursday, Fish Day, and interviewed again the kitchen and a few of the patrons and me, and, you know. And then it was on every hour on Friday morning till about 2 o'clock, so if
So
if
you're
you
just
happen
gonna
to
like
catch
get
it.
inundated.
Oh.
And we have had calls, you know. Many from out of town. It's fine, there may need to be some changes, but, you know, it's great. So everybody's curious or wanted to come to the Fred Willett kitchen, the Fred Willett program. So it really, it's very nice. So it's great. And I've heard from other people, of course, who read it or saw it at other senior centers and things. Everybody's happy, and I think Cohasset's trying to upgrade theirs, and Norwell's beginning the process of a new senior center, but also changing their food service program. Anyway, everybody's looking at it.
And I had a couple of people yesterday who originally had brought their parents, you know, because they thought their parents needed to join the senior center, and came in yesterday to sign themselves up.
Oh, funny.
Because they were hearing such great feedback.
That is fun. And actually, I would like to generate a report. It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be to sort of parse the numbers out. You know, we require birth dates, or we ask for them, because it really otherwise skews the reports and you can't get a read on who's coming in. So we really do like that. I just think we're either very well balanced in terms of younger, what we still might call seniors, 16 and over, and then older, which might be over 80, 85, you know. A little bit more on the younger side of 70 than you would imagine.
That's great.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is, and probably what we always sort of thought, get people to be comfortable early, and then they're comfortable when they may need services or other connection. So I guess it's working. And I know Jess mentioned the taxes, so, you know, the upside is, of course, 90 people probably have been through here in the last month. They take at least 10 appointments a day, 2 days a week, and it'll be then through April 12th, so we're probably halfway through right now. But the downside is, you know, there are 5 or 6 of their volunteers taking up parking spaces, and people coming in that are waiting for their taxes, so that's just been an added activity to kind of tip the scales when we've had some issues with parking and the activities that we're trying to field. So it has been a little more difficult the last couple of weeks, we've noticed, with the big lunches. The 65 people that came to Art for the Mind yesterday, now we put up chairs for 82, and then didn't have to worry about it. I mean, we had 75 with a wait list, so we could squeeze more. But then we didn't get everybody, so again, those kinds of things are happening. Not so bad, still 65.
Yeah.
That's a big,
Yeah. Now, kind of on that note, I did interview 2 candidates for custodian, part-time custodian position. Here, we would share with recreation, and we could go either way. I think between myself and Kevin and Mara, Kevin Kelly is the director of facilities, so it's really under him, the custodian, but Mar and I would share. One's younger, one's a little older, and both want the job, and I think both would be great. The sad thing is then we kind of lose Nick, who is absolutely wonderful and set up those 82 chairs, you know what I mean? And
Why-
5 minutes flat.
Was he leaving?
No, he right now does every building around.
He runs around town.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Okay.
So he's a little
I thought
bit
he was
more,
just sort of here.
he's the floater.
He's
Certain
the
days
floater.
and certain hours. but-
So he does the safety complex, he does the community building, he does this building, he does not do the library. There are other buildings, town hall has their own, but he backs him up, he backs the library up, so he is the floater. He's good. But anyway, and he'll still train the new person, but just be one more regular. I have been managing a senior employment placement, I know I mentioned before. And so she worked through February and she's going to continue to work through March with us. And we're trying to offer what we can here, but she actually will pursue something else after March. That might be just closer to what her needs are or preferences for future employment, being maybe a little bit more in the library or higher education sector. So we're gonna let her try to find something in that vein after March. But she's been helpful and did help. CSEP.
Okay.
But she did help me get that spreadsheet off to the traffic engineer, so the parking lot monitoring data, which had to then be put into a spreadsheet, which was 6 months, 5 days a week of data. It was a lot of data, and honestly, I would have done that in the first place. Would have been so much easier, but instead, I had to collect all those papers that I thought were organized, but still, hard to kind of put it all together. So that's done, and that went up Friday. So hopefully, I don't know how long she might take. They're looking for it in the planning department now. So I'm hoping they have it by mid-month, mid to late March, and then we'll get into the planning board in April sometime, maybe late April. And the discussion will be on whether or not the proposed, but not really designed, just proposed and kind of vaguely placed at the point of the baseball field, not to take it over, but just to abut it. That is where it was proposed that we would get 16 new spaces. So that's
Which
up.
would be a new project. It hasn't
What does your gut say?
been budgeted,
Well-
hasn't been designed, it'd be a new project.
It would be a new project. Some of the money from the project has actually been set aside by Steve Kirby, but he really doesn't know what it cost because it really wasn't designed.
Yeah, right.
So, it's hard to say what the response will be on the planning board end, but we certainly have the support if they interviewed our patrons, or the food pantry, or the recreation department, all of whom are challenged by the limited parking.
How is it working out with the food pantry people? Are they parking across the street?
They are not parking across the street.
Yeah, because I keep seeing them, they pull right up and they take up all those.
I have mentioned it now. I didn't at first. It would just go away, but I think we'll have to work on it, but literally you can't, but still, I don't know where they will go. And frankly, we're not supposed to park across the street.
You're talking about the church lot?
Yeah,
So,
because they're taking up quite a few spaces.
and we're heading into the recreation's busier season, so it's been fairly open down there, but that will change too. So it's a problem, and how long will it take to, so.
Yeah.
So, that said, and to talk about tax work-off, I suppose, so I have been getting a lot of applicants, which I think I mentioned last time, and now I just am turning my attention toward trying to find positions in the town for the number that we have. But anyway, so one of my guys from the parking monitor, asking him to valet park for us, because you know what, honestly, I did it
Wow,
myself
that's
last week for 2
Great.
people. And why not? Now, ideally, I would rather have that golf cart and not have him take the car,
Yeah.
but have
Right.
them go to where they need to park and
Pick
then be
up.
picked up and brought to the entrance. So that will be the
Yeah.
better thing as long as I get it, and that hopefully might be June, but I have approached that with some people. So that's what I had hoped for anyway, and now we really do have, it would be very useful. We just need a place to put it. But anyway, the valet at least is something because it's just then I won't worry quite as much when they're driving around and there is no space for them to go. And you can't just snap your fingers and a car
By the time they
disappears.
get to the front desk, they're so breathless, you want them to sit down.
I know, it's, they try.
I see some of
They're
the
very
work
good
that goes
natured.
parking lots, like,
I mean, when it's 10:30 and you realize it's full or almost full and no one is leaving the building before lunch, like you know this because you know where they are, and you realize, oh my God, the lunch people aren't even here yet. So, then you just start to realize. No, as far as the cars in the
They're just,
parking lot
the
go.
cars aren't leaving because they're staying through
so
lunch.
then you have people
Oh,
coming
so
for
they're
lunch
here
and
till
there's
1
no
o'clock.
place for them to park.
Sorry, rules check.
So that's just been something to handle. I have been substituting, I guess I could still call it, but I've gone back to doing the Tai Chi classes twice a week now because we'd added a second one when Sandy was doing it, which is great because it's encouraged, it's recommended they do it twice a week. I just could never do that before, and now I am because we started it and then Sandy went to Florida for 1 month, which turned into 3. So, so
Wow.
if you're looking for me Tuesday or Thursday afternoons, I am in the Tai Chi Blossom Tower Fitness Room. But it's nice and I do love it, but it's just, it's time. Work in the building has been really like at a frenzy almost lately. So it was the warranty walkthrough a week ago. So we have arrived at our sort of, when we moved in and when we almost were ready to open the doors. So most everything is up now. So they've checked it, they did some painting, there was some water stains from when they were still trying to resolve water issues coming in the building, and then the paint got stained, so. Paint, ceiling issues, they've resolved shelving, laminate, the fireplace, everything's fixed there. So just in terms of the aesthetics in the building and those attributes, there's been a lot of work this week, which has been great. Tomorrow morning, those fans that were installed in the bathrooms upstairs, but really should have been downstairs, are getting switched. And the only thing that is still, as far as the project goes, that they're kind of managing are the outdoor lights that are still going to be modified. And the electricians are actually ready to do it this month, but we need a day that they can be in the parking lot with their lift
Oh, geez.
and taking up spaces. So, Friday. But they need more than 1 day. So anyway, we're working on that, but that is what you will see sometime this month, is that's what they will be doing as well.
Now, are these the parking lot lights or the building lights?
Well, they have been working already under the canopy with the, whatever had to be done to the infrastructure to dim the lights on the building.
Okay, yeah, that's what I
But they
thought.
still have to do the parking lot. Anyway, some exterior stuff which they're going to get to but may not have yet. The art exhibits, everything's good there. We've got our kids' work in, and there is a reception if you're interested in coming, March 22nd. It's a Tuesday night, 4:30 to 7. It's a long time, but the teachers will come, the students can come, their parents can come, some of the, patrons here can come. So, and we'll do it again for the high school students in April. So the high school students' work is right now at the Front Street Art Gallery, and that'll come up here on April 1st. And then the reception, I think, will be at the end of the month, actually, just because of their vacation. So April 26th for them, March 22nd for the middle school
I
students.
just have to say, I mean, some of the artwork from the middle school
I
is
know.
like unbelievable. I mean,
Wow,
sixth
isn't it nice?
grader,
Yeah.
you should take a
Yeah.
look at it if you
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
seen it. It's
Yep.
some pretty talented young
Great teachers.
budding artists.
Absolutely, yeah, that's been fun. And then some also great exhibits planned through the year, and so there's a 3-person committee, plus myself, and they really have been wonderful about looking for things that are maybe a little different or will fulfill another 6 or 8 weeks. And then also even into next year. So open to suggestions for groups and artists and themes, so it should be fun. I think they like it. As Jess said, yes, the St. Patrick's Day Parade. So we will just put the van in. I think it's not clear yet whether, because I don't know how easy it is just to get the truck, the flatbeds, that you need to have the vans. But if we could get the Brown Brothers, we would. I may even ask them tonight. or not, we can always play music out of the van, we do need some riders, we do need to decorate, and I would like it to be a thank you to the town residents, to the, just for the senior center, you know, we've done it before it was a thing, before it was real, we were trying to get it, and now we have it, so that's basically the motivation for being in it again.
The pot of gold at the end of our rainbow is the
Oh.
Scituate Senior Center.
Aw, you know what, Marie, that really is a nice idea. Somebody write that down. That's me. Pot of gold. That's very nice. Anyway, otherwise, yes, there are some meetings going on here at night, not a ton. I know it will increase. My building use policy and application is near done and ready to go to town administrator and the board of selectmen so that we can maybe nail that down. But if they're a town committee and they ask and I can do it, they can come. I have a couple of volunteers who are willing to be here at night if I'm not, but I have been. A couple of community but town sort of sponsored, sanctioned groups come in here, the French and Irish Sister City committees, the South Shore Irish Heritage Trail Committee, they're one and the same really, but I'm happy, you know.
The garden club is coming?
The garden club is coming and using, for an evening
Yeah.
meeting. Yes, that's right, and they volunteer for us every month, it's that sort of thing. And the Veterans Advisory Council, of course, is here meeting and do the breakfast. So next week's breakfast is really them, partly because, as you know, we have to limit to a degree. Fred can't do an unlimited breakfast and then turn around and somehow do 50 for lunch. So they don't really want to limit, nor do we want them to have to. So they're really doing a buffet-style continental breakfast. We're providing coffee and juice. And as many can come as happen to or sign up. And right now, I probably think we only have about 35 or so. They take many more. But little by little, we'll do this regularly with them.
That's a good number for.
Yeah, it's not. And they will have a mobile van here that apparently the veterans can sign up for benefits and things through the van. And that's something they want to introduce to them this time, so that's coming. But we'd like to even start something more regularly, if not weekly, at least monthly coffee for veterans or something to give them a chance to get together. Just those same gathering opportunities that we were saying. So it's great to work with them. The Pride group, I've started to allow them to come in monthly and hoping to give them some space and opportunity to develop their options, their social options and meeting options, so, again. That's it so far, really. The parade committee was trying to do an event here, and that was the first time it was asked that it be a little later than your normal meeting hours, and they did apply for a beer and wine license, which is fine. And the veterans did that on November 11th during the day and got it. So that's not the problem. I think it was the late hour that needs to somehow be more clearly stated what is allowed and what steps they have to go through to have that approved before we can have that here. So then
What actually is it gonna be?
they moved to their game night to St. Mary's. It was great.
What actually is it gonna be? Oh, you're talking about like what's gonna happen at St. Mary's on the 19th, originally was gonna be here, or they wanted it to be?
No, it was last weekend. It was going to be here, and
I see.
they just decided it was fine. They could move it to somewhere else.
I see. One suggestion I do have, and I know I think I brought it before, but you had asked if there were any suggestions for the art committee. And that would be this whole idea, of given the fact that the garden club members like do, you know, a special event, is this whole concept of doing like art in bloom,
Yeah.
and to have, you know, like some artists and then have the
They
garden.
replicate.
Yeah, the garden people try to represent what the artwork is in flowers.
That would be a nice collaboration if we tried to.
Yeah, like a collaborative effort. I mean, they do it at the Museum
MFA
of
do
Fine
it, yeah.
Arts, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and the garden club is involved in that next month.
Oh,
Are you in the garden club?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, so you know. So in other words, you're gonna have a display there at the
At the
museum?
MFA.
oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Do you do it
It's- if you
collaboratively?
had- No, there are very talented people who specialize in that.
Yeah, it's like, and it's
And
like,
considering the fact that what they were given is a medieval Gothic religious panel.
Theme?
I'm glad they're doing it.
Well, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
if you haven't gone to
I-
the
Oh, it's
MFA
fabulous.
Art in Bloom, it's worth the price of the ticket to go see it. It really is amazing, because some of the artwork that they have to recreate in flowers is like,
Mhm.
challenging, and it really is amazing what they do. It really is, so. I just thought it would be cool if we could do it here, because then it would get two different groups that are really active
Oh,
here
yeah,
to collaborate together.
especially if somehow it benefits somebody in the community
Yeah.
and us as well. So sure, keep that in mind. I am still going to try to get a grant submitted to both
Sands.
the SEF, but also the Community Challenge Grant through AARP. And I don't know if anybody has any thoughts. Has anyone visited the Marshfield the senior center in Marshfield outdoors? Did I mention this last time about the outdoor exercise equipment that I really have wanted? But I've been kind of waiting for the time and the opportunity to. But of course, my idea for it might have been more around the walking track in the multipurpose field out behind us, if the town approved that I do this. But it's adult exercise equipment that you put out, that is outside, and could almost be like an obstacle course kind of thing, like you can go
Yeah.
and do it one to the next all the way around, as opposed to Marshfield and Duxbury have this too. Set it up in almost like a playground. But it's great equipment. So that's one idea I had. Again, with the proposal they're reviewing for adding a JV baseball field back here. That probably wouldn't work quite as well for that, but we do have space. It's not that our campus here behind us doesn't have space, but it's not level. And I just think we still don't know what's going to happen with the other building yet, so it's hard to take on something that's going to be permanently put in. So anyway, otherwise, through our action plan for the age-friendly group, I still can go to that. We have points that we have to meet that we propose that we would do. So some of that could be grant, some of it is, benches throughout town at different locations. Granted, we have benches here and could put more in, because we have had donations where they would like memorial benches placed, but how many can you do? So those are just a couple of thoughts for doing the grant. Not so much for the Education Foundation yet, I haven't thought of that one. So, that's it for me, and in terms of Erin, again,
Something with a lot of lifelong learning.
lifelong learning, so that is something, and again, if you guys are, I would like to have a meeting, if not the very end of March or the very beginning of April, because I think we might have 3 or maybe even 4 good classes that we could kick off a program with in May, June, July, so I'd love to do that.
Who's on the committee?
As yet, whoever volunteered from this group, so I think Dee and Marie, I believe, or if not,
Just for Junius's notes.
yes. From last meeting, they had offered, and then there are a couple of people I have talked to otherwise.
Marie's just said, don't you remember you raised your hand?
Pretty sure.
And then said, what did I volunteer?
Yeah, exactly. That was the, what did I volunteer for?
That's right.
We have it
Still
on
don't-
tape.
I still don't know.
You can tag team if you want. Anyway, so that's my hope. So, not to be too loquacious. Erin's report, she's been very good about, she's doing home visits and getting to know people. She's taking on really anything that seems like it would be valuable, anything that anyone's calling about, if she doesn't either know or have a resource. She is very willing to learn, so has been great about pulling together resources when asked or helping out a senior in almost any way that she can. And the numbers show it. She did help out with some of the storm preparedness, which luckily for us was not really necessary this winter, thankfully, but it gave us a good opportunity to be ready for next winter. I'm sure we'll get it one of these days. And the volunteer stuff, which Jess had talked about. And she did spearhead getting the healthy eating program, which they were doing in housing. So we wanted to bring it in here, and I had Lisa, former activities, go through the training. So those evidence-based programs require a lot of training. And then we did it only one time, I believe. It's an 8-week. So it's easier, that's a lot of manpower to be down, both for the training and then to have them do it. So if Social Elder Services is doing it for free for us, then it benefits us to have them do it, really. And then for transportation, yep.
Smoke detectors, isn't that an annual thing with the fire department?
It is, and it's, you know what, for all I know, I mean, I know she applied for the grant again and always does. If I had calls from someone asking, I would send them her way or call her. She might have it, but she hasn't let me know that it's in place or that. I think
usually
there's
it's
been
around
some
this time.
transition, yeah.
Right, it's February,
Daylight
March.
saving.
Yeah.
Mark Donovan is the new, with Al Elliott retiring, Mark Donovan is
Okay.
the new deputy chief.
Oh,
I believe that's public, I think. So, you know, it's been a busy transition, and I don't know, I think Dave Guadaluardo might have been out on some medical. So it is the SAFE program through the fire department, that they do check the homes and replace smoke detectors or CO detectors for free, through a grant.
Do they change batteries?
You know, they do,
Do
for
they change
sure.
batteries?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, yeah,
I get
whatever you
on that
need.
ladder.
Well, what they would do honestly is check, you know, make sure it is all safe. If it needs batteries, they do it.
Well, they say the
But
best way to remember
They
that
just
is
haven't given me that
is
sort of formal,
box
yes.
check.
Yes, no, that's
Put it in your
why it's
newsletter.
scheduled, get on the
Anyway, transportation is great. It almost seems not busy because Lillian handles it so well. And we, I believe, are bringing on one more new driver. One is maybe taking a little break, a little extended vacation, which is okay, because that's what you should do when you're supposed to be retired but are doing this nice part-time job, and we want them to come back, but that's fine. So we are collecting a couple of other part-timers that we can use for backup. But
Do you think February was just a little lower because of weather?
I think so.
And also because it's maybe short of month.
And also people are away,
Yeah.
snowboarders.
All of the above, well, they don't really use the transportation, but yes, but we are going to, I mean, with the new Market Basket is opening
I
tomorrow.
know, that's Saturday,
Over Hannah?
Yeah,
7 AM.
Oh, okay.
but we should, I mean, maybe it's hard to say. We used to have a regular group that went to Trader Joe's and the Hanover Mall every other week, and it was full usually. So we will start that up again, at least Trader Joe's maybe one week and maybe Market Basket the other, twice a month. See how that goes.
Definitely should get some liability.
I mean, they're happy with
waivers.
us.
If you're gonna send them in to Market Basket when it's just opening, I think you
Might
need
get
some
injured.
waivers.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, it'll be, I guess it'll be a few weeks before we actually do that,
Yeah.
but that's true. Like, they like Shaw's, and Shaw's is great too. That's just something different, you know, they like to.
Has anyone heard anything about whether there'll be a new cinema at the Hanover Mall
I
again?
think so.
Oh, I do think so.
I hope so.
Not here in Situate, sadly, but.
That's sad,
No.
it's so sad.
Embarrassing.
What are they doing with that space
There's
anyway?
also
Apartment buildings.
Condos.
That's so
It's
sad.
apartment buildings.
In Hanover.
Oh,
They
yeah.
drove by there the other day, it's,
Oh, really?
It's awful.
they're huge.
Really, so you can already tell, I didn't know
Oh, yeah.
it was apartment rental unit.
Oh, yeah, they're big,
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
massive.
gigantic.
Haven't driven?
There are apartments
Yes.
on the bottom floor?
Oh, no.
No,
it's
at
like
the
every
Hanover
floor,
Mall,
there's
she's
like
talking
four.
Oh, you're talking about the Hanover,
Oh.
I'm talking about the
Oh,
Where
it's
the
not
Hanover-
the
oh,
Hanover.
no, I'm sorry, no, where the
Oh.
Hanover Cinema was.
Oh,
Yeah.
that I did not
That's all
know.
apartments.
That's huge, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Wow.
Any particular demographic or anything?
I think they put it in using like the 40B, so.
Oh,
That I didn't know, that's news. But the Mill Wharf Plaza area, I think, is more condos. I do believe that's going to be developed.
Is known as ice cream gonna stay?
Hopefully it's multi-use, maybe, I don't know.
Come on, you don't eat ice cream looking like you do.
I don't.
All right, well, anybody else?
Anybody have any questions for Linda? Thank you.
Linda, you must know this, I know I should know this, but the new building that's where Sylvia's used to be,
Mhm.
what is that going to house? You know,
I have heard, but for some reason that
The
does not
wine,
spring to
some
mind.
kind of wine place.
really?
what place?
But,
A
but
wine?
when you
A
walk
wine
into,
bar?
not a wine bar as opposed
Oh.
to not a package store.
Right,
Oh.
like a wine bar.
I guess.
So it's gonna be like another,
Bar.
food Betty. Oh, okay.
Another bar.
Another
Yeah.
bar.
Mhm. It's huge, it's really
Yeah.
big.
I do like the Uva wine bar in Plymouth. It's nice.
Maybe it'll be like that.
Maybe. And then in Hingham, there is one where you can go and it is a combination wine package store, and you can go in and do those tastings where you buy a certain amount and can taste any of the wines. That's right near the Snug.
Wow, okay, you're giving us all sorts of bizarre.
So I want to just back up real quick. So, did we sort of get commissioned this past week in terms of all the building and all the?
It hasn't come to
wasn't
that.
there Commissioning?
It hasn't come to that, I
Okay.
haven't heard that.
It's so interesting. Big one.
No, no one's told me that, it's just the contractor at this point making sure that their loose ends are tied up.
Okay,
Anything they're responsible for, they have called in.
okay. And is everything working?
As far as I know. As far as I know.
Good.
There is still discussion of the noise coming from the equipment on the roof that the neighbors can hear, and there is something an engineering piece that if the closet or the equipment is running at 80% versus 100%, the noise level changes, and so
I thought
trying
that
to
was still
find
being
the right
tested.
balance between what
Yeah.
it needs to be at to work,
Yeah.
doing what it's supposed to do, and also trying to quiet it down for the surroundings.
Do the generators do a weekly self-test?
Yes.
That makes a lot of noise too.
It does, and it's funny, it's the, you know where it is,
Yeah, of
obviously,
course.
and let's say where we are now, or in our offices.
You can't hear it.
We can't hear it.
I know the first time my generator did its self-test, I thought I was scared the heck out of me.
But if we do put in we can change the time, so right now it happens Tuesdays at 4:30, but if we happen to add a class at the end of the day, and it might go over that hour, then we would just change the scheduled time, 'cause that would be, yeah. I mean, it's loud enough, so we wouldn't want to be right on top of it all the time. But did its job this winter, it seemed fine.
Yeah, awesome.
Good, great, thank you. It's been busy.
You're welcome, it has been busy, and Jess is right, people are having fun.
That's important.
Even we are,
I was just gonna ask that question, and are you?
we are.
That is important, that people are having fun. Thank you, we'll move on to liaisons, and we only have Elaine here from Bob. I don't have anything from Karen Canfield, and I don't have anything from Joe Power, so.
They didn't have a meeting.
Boss is just super excited to be able to run their first event in over 2 years. Coming up on April 12th, the Meet Julia Child theatrical event. It's a two-person show that they'll be doing. It's from 1:30 to 2:30 is the program, and then they stay afterwards to answer questions, talk with the audience, and see, a little bit more social. So we're just super excited. It's just, and people have signed up already. I'm not sure. The last I heard was 46, but that was last
Oh,
week.
no, it's pretty
way
much,
more than that.
Where is it going to be?
there's like 2 more
Yes.
tickets.
Yeah, it's full.
It's full. Is it at the 70 already?
Today, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. But there's a limit of 70 people, so I was sure it was gonna sell out because that's not very many. But that limit was put on us by the theatrical group. It wasn't anything here or anything, but, so, we're in the process of planning,
It's nice, it's awesome.
pastries and what have you that we're gonna be serving, and flowers that's gonna be on the table, and all that, just stuff that we usually do, but it's just something that we haven't been able to do in over 2 years, so we're just looking forward to that. And we have been providing Hershey Kisses in the lobby. They don't
Bottomless.
last, they don't last very long, but we're trying. So,
That's awesome to have some theater
Yeah, it's just, it's really great, and they do it, there's a number of different, performances they do, so we're just starting with Meet Julia Child, there's another one that they do on Evening with Mae West.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's a couple, so we're thinking maybe another one in the fall. We'll see how this goes. I think it'd be better if we could get something that would be able to entertain more than just the 70, limit of 70, but,
Oh, next time, it's been a transitional time.
oh,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
plan
Yeah,
too
we're
far
still
ahead.
transitioning with our officers and everything, so, but it's going
I
well,
was gonna
so.
ask, so who's, heading up FOSS now?
Jean Young is the president.
Yeah.
I'm the vice president. We have a new treasurer, Andrea Stafford, and the secretary is Sarah Overkeefe. And we have a full board. We had somebody resign, but now Pauline has been elected back to the board, so
Oh,
she's super
okay.
excited to be back on the board, so. And she's finally driving again, so she's even more excited about that. So that's all good. Everything is looking great.
Good. So,
Elaine, this is Pat in the Zoom.
Hi, Pat.
I'm
And,
sorry.
did you say it's full, the Julia Child
Yeah.
program is full?
There could be 5 tickets, I'm not absolutely certain, but it was pretty close to 70.
Oh, can I please get some tickets? I'm so excited about it. I met Julia Child at her house once.
Did you really?
I'd love to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down, I'll check on it when I go downstairs.
Yeah, two tickets. Kevin was at the
No, she
program.
wants to.
Joe, she's being greedy.
The other thing that's a possible activity at some point in the future, speaking of theater, is that when I went to the MCOA conference a couple of years ago, there was a gentleman there that actually runs, it's theater for seniors, where he will come in and people that are interested in being in a theater production, you know, maybe people that used to sing or still sing or maybe used to act or still act, that might want to get involved. And it's an activity, but it's also a form of entertainment. So, you know, you get the seniors to actually put on the show and then, you know,
For everyone else.
for everyone else. So it's, you know, might
That would
be
be
a cool
great.
thing to look into for future.
I have had requests from people looking to see if we had a
Actors
singing group,
Yeah.
and acting could be something else.
I wonder if there's some way to tie that into some expertise at high school, theater director or,
Like, yeah,
music
people
director.
that are.
when they're done with school at 2:30, they come here for a 3 o'clock.
In other words, they would be the
Yeah.
producers
Yeah.
and the,
Maybe.
yeah, or even at the Vogue Tech, if there are people that are interested in theater production and, all of that, I mean, that would be another thing too.
Yes.
Yeah. That
It's a great
may-
idea.
Yeah.
Add it to the.
Intergenerational, but as they say, gen to gen.
Is that what they're saying now?
That is, it's an actual nonprofit that exists in the
Oh.
state, it's called Gen to Gen, GEN to Gen, yeah. And it's a whole initiative to bring seniors and
Oh,
young people together to do programming, so.
Yeah,
And it's throughout the state?
What?
It's throughout the state?
Gen to Gen
Yeah.
is a statewide thing, yeah.
Oh, nice, I might want to do something on that for the social senior year.
Mm.
That would be a good article.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can, I'll get in touch with you, you know, we'll talk later.
I'll have my people call it.
I'll have my people call.
Does anybody else have any other business to bring to the table tonight? Old, new? I don't think I do. Does anybody else have any comments, questions? Pat from long distance? You're good?
No, all set.
Well, we'll hear a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
Motion accepted. Thank you very much. Have a good
Okay.
everybody.
Thank you.